Hello, my name is Laura Rose and I'm a certified business and efficiency coach. I focus on time management, work-life balance strategies, and stress management tips as it affects the office and home. I have 20 years experience in the software development industry. I have been a developer, programmer, tester, quality assurance manager, product manager, and project manager. I've worked with large international companies such as IBM, Spaghetti, Ericsson, Fidelity Investments, Red Hat, and Staples in customer advocacy and project management roles. At Rose Coaching, I help driven individuals and organizations with their time management skills, project management training, and work-life balance strategies. I offer workshops, seminars, group and individual coaching sessions. One of my most popular workshops is under the umbrella The Business of Busyness, 12 tips to keep you on target. It's been so popular that I wanted to give a few minutes on what the workshops are about. This tape is only about 6 minutes, so it doesn't give you a clear understanding of what it's going to cover in the 6-week workshop, but it gives you a little bit of idea. The normal 12-tip workshop is an interactive discussion, and it's a combination of a classroom and lab environment. And we can focus it and structure it to meet your focus and your budget. Normally in the full-blown workshop, we cover the 12 tips to realistic scheduling. We review the tips, how to implement them, and then the common mistakes in the implementation so that you can avoid them. In actuality, these are the 12 tips. Don't allow being busy to derail you from your commitments. Verify that everyone is talking the same language. Identify critical paths and bottlenecks early. This is one that breaks out into a lab. Work only on what will be of value, and that's a value to your client as well as a value to you. Feel better about risk management. This is also a lab exercise where we do some risk analysis and risk management. Master effective and rapid decision making. Most of the time we waste our time trying to decide whether we're about to make a bad decision, and we talk about avoiding that. Rigorously institute reasonable forcing functions. Execute effective meeting management. We find ourselves in meetings a lot of times. How to make the most out of those meetings. Accept progressive refinement. This is in regards to both scheduling and also releasing your product. Reduce inventory wherever possible. Beware of heroics. Don't be the source of the chaos. So the 12 tips of realistic scheduling talks about all of these things. After that 12 tips overview, we can drill it down into a 6-week follow-up workshop. And they cover areas like the clutter diet, that's prioritizing what's important to you. We use Stephen Covey's 4 quadrants as well as the 4 Ds. And if you want to know more about that, come take the workshop. The right way to say yes, we will use the time boxing technique to do that. Share the wealth, managing your prosperity. Many people feel overwhelmed with things coming at them. The whole idea is to look at this as your wealth, as your prosperity, and you want to manage, be able to manage what's coming to you. You don't want to shut off the faucet. You want to just better manage it. Sprinting to the finish line talks more about the sprint and buffer technique. This is a way to handle the unexpected. Pre-paving for success, one step at a time, and this covers a segment intending technique. And then the last of the series is Get Excited About Your Life. It encompasses focusing on your passion and your goals to accomplish whatever you want in life. Okay? So the next few minutes I'm going to give you a real quick tip on the paradox of busy. I I find this intriguing because most of us, when we get busy and we become an expert in our field, for instance, we become the go-to people, we find that we're getting inundated with a lot of requests. And if you get too many requests, you start to get frustrated by them. And then you find that you're spending too much time switching between tasks instead of actually accomplishing something. So you get to a point where I just want to shut the door and be left alone so I can get some real work done. And I call this the paradox of busyness, because if I'm in that state, I have to actually do the opposite. I want to be the MVP. I'm the most valuable player. I want to be the go-to person. So I don't want to close the door on those requests, but I actually want to manage them. I want to plan for those interruptions. So we talk about how to plan for them and how to handle them, how to say yes on your own terms. You want to avoid inefficiency between switching tasks. I want to use sprints and buffers. And the next few minutes I'm going to talk a little bit about sprints and buffers before we close out. And the other thing too, instead of closing the door and wanting to be left alone so you can get some work done, you really want to build a network. You want to really be able to collaborate, communicate, and find synergy amongst the people that are actually knocking on your door. So that's why I call it the paradox. Okay, so let's spend a little bit of time of having an example in practice. How do I translate this into real life? This is an easy example. We have two tasks. I'm supposed to do task A and task B, and I'll go and schedule it. You know, I can't do them both at the same time, but I estimate that task A will take 8 days, task B will take 8 days, and these are just made up numbers just to illustrate a point. Okay, so I start on my task A and I'm working diligently, and on the second day, in the middle of the second day of my task, George may knock on my door and say he needs some help on X, Y, and Z. So I kind of interrupt what I'm doing, I stop what I'm doing with task A, I take time to maybe make some notes on where I am and put it away, and I go over and help George. And his task may take a day, may take a day and a half. And I come back and I pull out my paperwork and my notes and I take a look at it, and I says, okay, some things have happened since I stopped. I've got to get re-educated on where I left off and what's left to do. Now I estimate that, I know I said it was going to take me 8 days, and I got into maybe a day and a half, 2 days of work, but now after getting re-innovated into this, I still think it's going to take me 7 days to finish it. So you start working on it, and then after 2 days, 2.5 days, Sharon may come up and need your help. So you stop what you're doing, you go through the same thing, putting it away, helping Sharon, and then you come back, and now you estimate it. So, well, now I think I still have 6 more days on this task A. So now what you've done is you're not only delayed in completing task A, the people that are waiting for task A is also delayed. You haven't even started task B, the people waiting on task B are now waiting. So a better way to do it, perhaps, is to take task A and divide it, take a really good look at it and divide it into many tasks. So in this simple example, I come and divide my task into 2-day tasks. So I'm sitting there, I'm working on my A1. After I work on it for 2 days, nobody's knocking on my door. That's great. I'll start on A2. I start working on A2. I get done maybe a day and a half. Then George comes in and he needs my help on something. And I say, hey George, I'd be happy to help you. I'm actually in the middle of something right now, but I estimate myself to be completed on this by 3 p.m. today. Is it okay if I come by your office and we work on your issue at 3 p.m. today? 9 times out of 10, George is going to say, great, thank you for squeezing me in like that. I'll see you at 3 p.m. And then you can go and get some coffee with him while you're discussing his problem. You work on his problem, you get it done, and then you come back to your clean slate. You start on A3. You didn't leave anything incomplete. You didn't stop what you were doing to help George. You completed what you were doing. So now A3, you can start that from scratch. You do your mini task A3. Maybe Sharon comes in when you're almost finished A3, and she asks for the same thing, and say, yep, I'm going to be finished. Looks like I'm going to be finished this early. I'll be finished by 11 o'clock. Maybe we can go have an early lunch and talk about your issue, things like that. So 9 times out of 10, this will work. And then you get back and you finish A4. And surely when you did your estimation, you did your 2 days, but you actually put buffers in there. When you did your estimation, you said, okay, 2 days, and I'm going to have 1 day here for any emergency that comes in. And then so just put some buffers in between to take care of those emergencies. So in your original schedule, you said it would be 8 days, but when you did your sprint and buffers, you also included buffer time. So you said 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. You may have said, okay, I'm going to take 11 days for task A, but you've told everybody that you're going to take 11 days. And then you actually come in early, that's great. If not, you haven't wasted anybody's time. So that's sprint and buffer. Sprint, I split the tasks into mini tasks. Buffers, I put a little bit of time in between each task just in case an emergency arises. Okay, so that's just a little bit of what you're going to get into those workshops. And this is a little bit about my teaching style. Some people have commented on it. I'll let you read that. A lot of people have enjoyed these classes. A little bit of my background, I'll give you a minute to read that. Please, if you're interested in any of this material, I also have some articles on time management. Just email me, Laura Rose at Rose Coaching, and I can send that to you. Thank you for your time and have a great day.